Hey Sylvia, welcome to Tiffy Talk, where
Hi,
we
Tippy.
hi, and thank you so much for joining us.
My
I
pleasure.
I interview a lot of authors from all over the world with different kind of interesting stories, but but with you, the book that you wrote is all over the world in itself, right? So we're going to be talking about the book that you published called The Dirty Jewess. And I love this book. I don't love the title. We're going to be talking about it. And it's a personal story and your story. So it's not just a story. It's something that like you sweat and your blood and all that went into it. The picture on the book, let's start with the picture on the book.
This picture, this particular one, it's the portrait of his sister Frida from the 1933, and I have the original right here on my wall. I was very excited to use it as a book cover. Hippie. He was the reason why I opened up and why I really wrote the book.
Wow.
He was
Wow.
the reason. Yes, I wanted to introduce him to the greater audience, to the world, let's put it this way. Yeah. And it was something that I worked on for many years. And it just somehow connected, it came together. And the book was published first, in Slovakian language in 2010. And it was titled Židovka. Židovka is the a female Jew. Žid is a male Jew and Židovka is a female Jew, and it's a derogatory word. It's an insult. It was very difficult even to take it out of your mouth. Actually, I was like embarrassed to even say I was Židovka. Not many people knew that I was Židovka. I was a Jewess. Okay, and and when I was writing the English version, as a matter of fact, the book came out also in Hungarian, and it's called um, Židovne, Jewish woman. It, in Hungarian it also sounds bad, Žido. It's, like a Jew, but it's not the same. In English, Jewess is
There's
like
no such a thing. No such a thing. Doesn't exist in
Yeah,
English.
yeah, there is already Jewish, but it's I even send you. There was Gilda Radner. She made there was a sketch on Saturday Night Live, a Jewish jeans, and she's
Right, right. But people use it, but in English,
yeah,
English
it's
is not
not
one of those languages. Like you have languages like Slovakia where everything is male or female. A table will be either a male or a female, a door, a window. Everything is male and female. And then you have, even in Hebrew, you have Yehudi, Yehudiya,
correct.
you have male and
Yeah,
female. But
yeah,
in English, nothing is male. Most things are not male and female. Most things are just are. So when you say a Jew, it's a man and a woman. I'm a
yeah,
Jew, even
yeah.
though I'm a woman. I'm not
Over
a
here.
Jewess. So it's not a word.
It was very difficult for me to put Dirty Jewish, although my publisher, they insisted it has to be so. To tell you that yes, you're right. I had to add a subtitle, and then I felt comfortable.
Right, right. So
A woman ages journey
that's
to
how the
rededication
title came about. It wasn't your choice. It was their choice, and you
to
had to
put
go.
Dirty Jewess. Yes, the
Right, you had to go
immediate.
along with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I'm very proud of it too.
I tell you what, I didn't even put my name on the Slovakian. It's only my co-author because I was embarrassed to say it just not embarrassed. It just didn't feel right. Let me show
Sorry.
you. This is the original version, Židovka.
Oh, wow. That's a completely different cover also.
Completely different cover, of
And
course.
and
Yes,
your name is not even on it.
not my name is not even there. Okay,
Right.
and Andrea is not even Jewish. I'm going to show you the second edition in 2020
Which was also in Slovakia?
in Slovakia, and it became a platinum bestseller, selling over
Wow.
25,000 copies in its first year.
Wow.
This is in Hungary. It came out. That's the original version was translated by this professor
Hmm.
in the university in Slovakia, in Nitra. And I went, it was the same year my English version came out, except it was in January. We all went to Budapest to the Holocaust Museum, and and it was introduced to the public. Yes, so this is the story, and of course here is the English version.
And this your story is really touching because it goes from childhood all the way till the time that you establish this amazing artist's memorial, which
Yeah,
is basically what you
yeah.
wanted to do.
I practically brought him back alive.
That's
It's
right.
like that. Yeah, he would have been forgotten.
Exactly. He would have been completely gone. So when you were growing up in Slovakia, it was Czechoslovakia. Was that
Yes,
one?
and
Right.
when I escaped from Czechoslovakia in 1979, which was 10 years before that. Yeah.
Right. And then in the 80s, everything turned around and you were able to go home. So that's amazing. So when you think of your childhood, which I'm not gonna reveal this story because if somebody really wants to know what happened to you there, they can read it. But anti-Semitism was strong. It was after World War II, and anti-Semitism did not disappear, and Jew hate did not disappear completely at all. Um, and basically, after the Nazis, the communists came in.
Yeah, let me tell you, my story really depicts not only my story, it is actually the story of the entire second generation of Holocaust survivors living behind the Iron Curtain. And being a Jew was an addition, it was very difficult.
It was very interesting. But the bigger problem for you when you were growing up is how people treated you that were not Jewish, how they looked at you, how they
Yeah.
continued treating you like an outsider.
Yes, yes,
And you
definitely.
right, right. And you couldn't really walk around to be a proud Jewish girl growing
Not
up.
at all. No, no, no. It was something that, if I would admit or like just tell someone that I was Jewish, it was like it had to be a very close relationship. I was hiding in like bad habit or what, I don't know how to even describe.
Yeah, basically, I have to tell you, even in the United States, when we first came here, I was not comfortable telling people I'm Jewish. I have been called a, a dirty Jew or worse by kids in Brooklyn. So if that was in
Yeah,
Brooklyn, I can imagine how much more intense. And if somebody asked me who I was, I would have to hesitate before I tell them because I didn't know if they were going to
exactly.
hate me or
Yeah,
what they were going to do.
exactly.
And that's very mild compared to what happened
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
European world.
See, I was when we were in the village where I was born, which is very close to Ukrainian border. We were the only Jewish family that stayed behind there, so everybody knew we were Jewish. It was just like a
It wasn't
given.
something you could hide.
Exactly.
And
So, but,
yeah.
yeah, and the kids wouldn't want to play with me, and it was very hard. But when we moved to Košice, which is the second largest city in Slovakia, there was a whole big Jewish community there already. I had friends. We had like a little cheder, we had the rabbi there. We had the synagogue. We had a kosher kitchen. It was a Jewish life. I felt good. Although in school, it wasn't any different. There is something that I also, I'm sure you read it in the book. It was the hardest thing for me was when I would walk into the class and throughout the whole blackboard is written with a white chalk, Silvia je Židovka, Sylvia is Jewess.
Wow.
I wanted to disappear. I just burst into crying and I left school. I went home. First I thought maybe teacher is going to do something. Nothing was left unsolved, and I just went home crying. And my mother would tell me, if you think you are suffering, you don't know what suffering is.
Right.
And of course, we know what she was referring to, but that time I was 10, 11, I don't remember exactly. I didn't know what she was referring to. There was no education about the Holocaust. I never heard about it.
And she didn't talk about it either.
And she
So
didn't
right,
talk about it, no.
right, right.
And her number, when I would ask her what is that number tattooed on her forearm, A9301. I see it in front of me. She said, one day I'll tell you. So yes, it wasn't easy. No.
So being Jewish was always a big thing in your life. It was
Oh,
always something huge, not necessarily always in a positive way, even though there was a
never
lot of
in a
positive.
positive way.
Not growing
I
up, not
like
growing up, right?
to,
Not growing up, but
no,
eventually it became a positive way. But growing up, it was something like you had to deal with constantly, all the time, even to the point when you wanted to get married and your parents had to say, my child is not going to marry anybody that's not Jewish because they may
no,
end up being a Nazi. And that's like, so being Jewish was always like big, even
big,
though it wasn't
huge,
about religion. Right, it
huge,
wasn't about religion.
huge.
So
Yes.
your life as a so-called dirty Jew basically ended once you got to the United States, right?
In essence, yes. That's when when I was already in Italy under the HIAS, the Hebrew organization that helped the immigrants, Immigration Society. Then I was already happy that I was Jewish because they were helping me to come to America.
Right. So I feel like the first part of the book maybe matches the title, but then the rest of the book matches the subtitle. The rest of the book is the subtitle.
Could be, yeah.
But even the first part, the courage to get up and leave and not know where you're going and just knowing that I just have to get out of here and I don't care what's going to happen. I can relate to that. I felt the same way as a teenager, but you actually got caught once. And that did not stop you. Now, that's what I think the courage is. The courage is that it
Yeah.
didn't stop you. What was it that did that to you? Because most people, maybe 95% of people, would not try again.
Yeah, I tell you, the truth is, not only Jewish people were trying to escape Czechoslovakia, and non-Jews as well, because it
Of
was
course.
very difficult, communism. That's another whole big talk that
Right.
we don't have to have now. But many times when people would get caught, they wouldn't try again. No.
No, it's
But
like almost,
for me, that was my dream since I was 5 years old.
oh,
I
okay.
was just dreaming about. I didn't know where America was, but I said, I got to go to America.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So it
So
wasn't a dream you were going to walk away from just
no,
because it didn't
no,
fulfill
no. Like I said, I didn't know where I was going. I just had to go there.
that
That's
when you're
it.
determined, eventually it will happen.
And
Nothing
don't
can
give
stop
up.
you,
And this is what I tell everybody. Don't ever. It
no
will
matter
become
what happens.
your reality. No matter what you want, just don't give up. Go for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And what, now, I don't know if you know this or we even want to talk about it. What was it that you think made you get caught the first time you went?
Well, I was too excited when I got the permission to travel. I was too excited, and I shared maybe with the few people that I didn't have to share. And
Oh,
once somebody knew something about it, they told the authorities you became a target, and that's what it was. They were waiting for me at the border. They got me off the train and made me sit there at the police station and send me back home.
so you
And
think there was
luck,
somebody informed on you?
somebody
Somebody.
informed them. And when they do that, that somebody, which I didn't want it to know, I still don't want to know who it was.
First part. And then the second part is your life in Italy, where
Yeah,
you're
this is when
waiting.
my second escape happened.
Right. So you go to Italy where you're waiting to come to America.
Right.
And then the third part is, so it almost could be like four different books, really.
Yeah, and
But
everything is a story. It is so funny. I have to show you this. 1995, 1994, 1995, 96, Jewish Vegetarian Newsletter.
uh-huh.
Okay, this was this rabbi, and it says here, escape from Czechoslovakia, you see?
Uh-huh.
I I digged it up. I knew I had it somewhere because I kind of save all these things. I even have the tickets from Pan American Airline that I flew in. I have
Wow.
all that when I flew in from Rome. So this here, it talks about this rabbi who was publishing this, the Jewish Vegetarian Newsletter from North America. That's what it was. So he went to a Congress in Bratislava that in 1995, 96. Okay. And he met this girl who was also a pharmacist. She was at the Congress. She was telling him how difficult it was. She was not married, and it's very hard to meet a Jewish man. Da, 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 da. So he wrote about his peregrination in Europe, and he wrote about that girl also. What happened, I took a yellow legal pad and I started writing things down, everything how I did, and I went to the same thing. I couldn't find a Jewish man. Da, 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 da. Let me tell you, it is, you're not going to believe. Here it starts on page 9.
Uh-huh.
And it starts, editor's note, the following article does not concern vegetarianism directly, but it does describe the precarious situation of young Jews in Eastern Europe. Okay? So this, and then you go another 2 pages. And this is what I said. Well, thanks to Leah Rochlitz, that's the name of the girl, I wrote my story. It would take a book to tell it all. Maybe one day I will write it. Who knows?
Exactly. Exactly. But
15
yeah,
years later, I did it in Slovakia. So, and I did meet this Leah Rochlitz, and that's another story. I wanted to bring her here. Another book.
yeah, like the first part of the book is your life in Czechoslovakia at the time is a book. There's so many more things that I want to know.
Oh, yeah.
Because you touch on things, it's only the few chapters, but it leaves you wanting to know, what about this? What about this? What about, all these other things that you can't say. So that in itself is a book. Then the second part of the two escapes and going to Italy is definitely a second book. Then coming to the United States before you meet your husband is a third book. And then after you meet your husband is a whole different book, because with your husband, you have also the element of health and the element of vegetarianism and the element of diet and how it affects your body, and your whole life changed.
Yeah.
And having a
Because of
family.
his health, be changed. Yes.
Yeah, and having a family. So yeah, you could have
Yeah.
two books, but I think you did a really good job putting it all together in a way that makes the book in itself very like complete. Like you don't feel at the end like I'm missing something, even though you want more information, but you don't feel like you're missing something. You got the whole story, and it completes with something that's really, really close to your heart. So I want to touch on that before we finish. Is it completes with the fact that you find the guy that did that beautiful picture that you have in the cover.
Yeah.
And
Well, the
he-
way it started, I tell you, when I got married, I went for honeymoon with my husband. We went to Israel. That was my first time in Israel. And we went to Yad Vashem. And there it is.
well, Yad Vashem is a Holocaust Memorial Museum, for those of you that don't know what it is.
And there it is, hanging on the wall.
His picture, this one?
No. I prepared. I'm going to show you which one. I have it right here in big. You see this here? It's too big.
Oh.
This is the picture.
Yeah.
The original of this, you see, it says Teglajar, Ludovit Feld. Teglajar means brick factory. And he portrays himself sitting
in there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this is the scene from the ghetto in Košice, which I knew nothing about.
And that's what you saw in the museum?
And this is what I saw in Yad Vashem.
So what you recognized was his style of picture.
I see the name Ludovit Feld.
You saw his name.
I didn't even know there was a ghetto in brick factory. I knew where the brick factory was, and I walked once with him to the brick factory to that road. I remember that. And he was a dwarf, and all the kids over there. There is a lot of Roma children, and they would like poke in front of him, and he would throw them candy. So I remember that scene very vividly. And I was telling my husband, I said, he was my teacher, this dwarf. He was the only dwarf I've ever seen, or maybe anybody else. And I was telling him the story. I didn't know that he was in Auschwitz. I didn't know any of that. And yet maybe I knew a little bit. Okay. But this is when I started like, wait a minute, how come I'm not I don't know. I mean, this is where I grew up practically, yeah. And so my husband, like that was in 81, 82. And in 1987, we went together to Košice, to Slovakia, and we went to see him. And this is the picture.
Oh, that you're taking with him together with your husband.
1987 in April. We went to my parents, they were there, and we met him and we talked to him.
That's a picture of your husband and him.
My husband and Ludovit Feld.
Right.
And we wanted to get some drawings, some paintings, whatever. And we went to look in the galleries. No, nothing. We couldn't get any. And my husband would say, why doesn't somebody do something for an artist of such historical value, such artistic, caliber, that he was? And I, like, of course, we were able to finally, through a relative of mine, get some of the originals that they were hidden. Nobody saw them before. And we brought them with us. So my husband bought it when we were there. And then whenever I went there, whenever we would travel, I don't think he went with me again. I went by myself to see my parents or with my children. I would always go to the antique stores or through people, and I would buy the original drawings from them. So unfortunately, my husband passed away in the year 2000 after 10 years of being sick.
In the year 2000?
In the year 2000, yeah. Way too soon. He was 54 years old.
Wow. So
yeah.
Young.
And this is when I decided that I am going to be that somebody who is going to do something for the artist. And that's how it all began. So we're talking, it's been 26 years ago, and I had all these paintings. I had them in my wall in Brooklyn, in my house. I say, if I can look at it, and it was his thing, he was very much involved in establishing of the Holocaust Memorial Park in Sheepshead Bay. I don't know if you remember that one. Yeah.
No, I lived near Ocean Avenue, so I was very close.
Yeah, you were close. So he was very much involved, and he was very big, very close to his heart. And so I said, this is what I can do in his memory. And we established the Ludovit Feld's Gallery and Cultural Center. It's adjacent to the main big synagogue. Here is the sculpture. Even the president of Košice.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Slovakia,
you have that picture.
The Holocaust survivors.
I think you have it in here, right?
Yeah. I don't. This is the new book.
Right.
And I have to tell you a story. When I was making that exhibit, the first exhibit here, I invited, there was in a neighboring town here in Oceanside, was one of the twins here in New York was Mrs. Irene Hisme. And my neighbor knew her, so somehow I got to know her. I invited her and her twin brother, Rene Slotkin. And he lived in Manhattan. So here I was showing them. She came with her husband. She was on a wheelchair. There is a beautiful documentary film about them on the internet. They were amazing speakers everywhere. Their story is, wow, it's just too fascinating and should ever be remembered. So when they came over, when first Irene came over with her husband, and I was showing them the picture, and she's telling me, see that little boy next to him? That's my brother Rene. And there it is. He rings the doorbell. He comes in, and mind you, at that time, I thought not only me, but few other people that I knew that were involved, from the Holocaust Museum, we thought that was this little boy, Pepíček, Joseph Grenfeld, who was with Feld also in the twin, in the twins barracks, in the kids barracks, and there is a book about him. I have it right here. Pepíček, who didn't know his name. So this period, And it was published by Yad Vashem Museum by Yossi Sarid. He was in Israeli parliament, and he came to visit Ludovit Feld in Košice before he passed away, Yossi Sarid. So there are pictures here. I can talk to you, it's amazing. So here is the picture from one of the Yom HaShoah commemoration from 27. Like I said, I just saved these things. You see, this is that little boy next to him with his mother. So I have it all. And
so talk to us about the meeting.
I'm jumping.
The meeting that you actually had with him before he died.
Well, it was, I tell you the truth, my husband was videotaping him, but unfortunately I don't have that videotape. It was amazing. It was so nice when I met him, and you
got together with your husband.
Yes.
How did you find him? How did you know where he was?
Oh no, I knew where he lived.
Oh, you knew where he lived.
Of course.
So you knew he was sick, and you
at that time he was still home. 87. He was still home. He was losing his sight, and he just, all he wanted to meet with some of the boys that he was very close to, which one of them was Peter Grenfeld, Pepice, and another one was Kalman Baran. Lo and behold, the Pepice came together and Kalman Baran came with Yossi Sarid to visit him. But whatever I do, it's because I don't want this part of the history, the Holocaust, to happen again. So everything in that regard, I'm in.
What do you think? What do you think is going on right now with such a burst of anti-Semitism all over the world?
It's very sad, and I think I always say that it's the ignorance that really is the cause. People should know more. They should learn more about what it is, what the hatred can do. I tell you, when my book first came about in Slovakia, and it became a bestseller for quite some time, and I was reading all the different reviews, what people were writing. I always repeat that this young mother, that she said, whenever she would give to her children candies to divide among them, she would say, "Don't be stingy as a Jew." After she read my book, she say, "I would never say that again." So it made an impact on her. If that can make an impact, because I really, I'm, like I said, I'm not a professional in that. No.
Just honestly telling you story the way it was.
And referring, like in very laid back way, they understood, they got it.
Right, because basically you were talking from your heart. You talk from your heart. You're not lecturing.
From my heart.
You're not lecturing. You're not telling them what to do.
No,
you're not asking them to stand. This is my story.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
But what motivated you to write the book? It wasn't about him when you started writing it. What was it that actually made you want to tell the story?
He was the reason, because this is what I was about. Yes. I opened up because I wanted to introduce him to the world.
So through your story.
I'm writing his story. His story was amazing. I mean, listen, right. Like I said, there were two women in his life. There was one of his students, was a typist at the office, at the Gestapo office in Košice, and she was typing all the name of the Jews living there. And Feld's family was one of the 9 children. She omitted his name because she wanted to save his life. So when they were taking him in the spring of 1944, he was not on the list. So all his family went to the ghetto, the picture that I show you. And he stayed home. He stayed behind. What he did, he couldn't bear it.
On the list.
He took his little backpack, put all his art supplies, and went to the brick factory, to the ghetto, knocked on the door, says, "I want to be here. I belong with my family." Well, they were happy to see him, of course, but they knew that his chances of survival were much bigger behind those gates of hell that they were forced to live behind. No, he never had any kids, but he was like a father figure to all these
So
boys
many. Yeah.
in his barracks. As a matter of fact, at that time of liberation,
Mhm.
he took 10 boys,
Mhm.
and he knew somehow they were not going to survive the death march, and they were hiding under the lowest bunk in the barracks for 10 days and 10 nights. They didn't leave. Only after everything was quiet, he left with them. Not only, and of course, he was experimented on, and he was Mengeles' personal artist. I didn't say that to you yet,
Of
right?
course. No, you didn't say that, but it makes
Yes.
sense because
He
he
was
liked to
Mengeles'
harvest talent.
personal artist. He was
Yeah.
documented all his atrocities. He was drawing his portrait almost on daily basis, and other SS men there. And after the liberation, he would draw from memory all these scenes, whatever, that I have some of the original drawings from 1948, 1950. But he would never draw Mengeles' portrait again, even though he could do it with his eyes closed.
So, in closing, what's the message that you want to give the world?
First of all, from my story, whatever you want, don't ever give up.
Don't ever give up.
Don't ever
Things
give
may
up.
seem like they're very helpless, but don't give up because
Don't give up. Have faith. Faith is a tool. It really is a tool that you can hold in your hand,
Mhm.
but it's in your mind.
Never give up. You have no
Never.
idea how relevant that message is to me right now, but
Yes. To
yes,
ever. To me
yes,
too.
there are
Yes.
times that you want to give up, but for me, it just happened last night. I was
Never.
about to walk away from something, but yeah, it's important.
No.
The most important
Never.
message, never give up
No. No. No.
and never forget.
Never. There you go. And never forget. And that's the second part.
Right,
Never forget. So this is where you come from. This is
right,
what our parents, they suffered, our ancestors. Don't forget.
right.
That's it.
That's
That's
the
it.
thank you so much for
My
telling your
pleasure.
story. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for writing the book and thank you for everything that you do. It's really touches my heart and I can understand why it was such a big seller because it's not just a story. It's not just like, oh, this is what happened to me on Monday. It's something that's very deep, very profound. And also the idea that you brought out this artist out of the closet that if you would not have done that, nobody would even know who he was ever.
A dwarf from Chicago. I'm telling you, you have to look it up. It's on the YouTube. Okay. His name is Marius Masset. Adventure Dwarf. He wrote a story on Ludovit Feld. He wrote, and he's a singer. He's performing it. It's on YouTube.
Wow.
Amazing. It's called
Wow.
Story of Ludovit Feld.
Why don't you send
Ludo-
me the link and
I'll
I'll
send you
post
that.
it below so
Yeah,
that people can actually go
through
and
the
look at
eyes
it.
of a survivor. Yes. And also,
Definitely.
yeah. And you can see there is a clip. It's Hungarian, the documentary film that they made. But you can see him. There is a film that I have. It's about 15, 20 minutes, but it's not on the internet. It was from 1979, the Czechoslovakian television that of Feld. And you can see him, how he draws, how he moves around. It's just such a wonderful sight. So
Yeah,
they
it
use
sounds
some of the
amazing.
clips from there, so you can see him on the internet just in a few takes. So
Yeah. Sounds
yeah,
amazing,
it's a
definitely.
documentary of Ludovit Feld. I'm going to tell you, when they sent me back from the border, when I was 20 years old, I went with my father to my grandfather's grave. And if I didn't even know that was in Porubka in the village. If I didn't know there was a cemetery there. Nobody knew. It was like in the middle of the field. There was a little woody
Yeah,
area.
you write about that in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I refurbished that cemetery. I made the promise. I made the nether. I didn't know that what I was doing. I said, I never met my grandfather. His name was Chaim. It was my father's father. I said, if I help me to come to America, I'll take care of that cemetery.
Ah,
And I did. I was able
and
to do
you
it
did, right,
after the
right.
communism collapse, and I at that time I was on a Facebook, and I put it on a Facebook, and a few people who were from they found it, and they go see it, they go visit the place.
Wow.
So I'm
So I think everybody should maybe buy a copy of the book. And if it's selling on Amazon or anywhere else, if there's a link, you can
yeah,
send it to
there is,
me.
yeah, just Google it.
You can
There's
send it to me.
everywhere. There are some libraries have it. Yes, it's
You can
everywhere.
Google it, or we can give them
Yeah,
a couple of links of where to go
yeah,
if you want it,
yeah,
if you
it's
want
on
more information.
Amazon. It's on Amazon. It's in the
Right.
stores.
And
Barnes and Noble.
it's definitely worth reading. So I would definitely suggest people go and
Yeah,
read that.
yeah. They
Um,
have ebook. Yeah, yeah.
and then
It's
if you have any question, you can email me directly. My email is here, but I'll forward it to you, or they can email you directly if you want
yeah.
to
I'm
leave
gonna
the
send you
email.
the link
If you want to leave the email, we
to
can
the
do that too.
song and yeah, the
And
yeah.
all that information, it's all going to be there.
Wonderful.
So once again, thank you so much.
My
It's been
pleasure, Tippy.
amazing.
And I look forward to seeing you here again
Yeah,
when
if I
you
ever
come
come
to
back to New
East
York, yeah,
Coast.
you'll be the first one to know for sure.
Yeah,
It was an
thank
amazing,
you.
yeah, it was beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Have a
Wonderful.
wonderful day
You too. Thank you so
and
much. Thank you.
much blessings. Yay!